In the shadow of towering mountains, hidden deep within a war-torn land, lay a forgotten village. It was silent and untouched by the chaos around it, but fate was about to drag it into the heart of conflict. The village had long been erased from maps and forgotten by the world, yet for those who lived there, it was everything, a sanctuary of peace amidst the storm. Life in the village was simple and quiet. Cobblestone streets wound between humble homes, smoke lazily drifting from chimneys, and the laughter of children echoed through the air. For years, the village had been spared the horrors of war. Farmers tended to their fields, elders gathered beneath an ancient oak tree to share stories, and Mira, a young woman with hopeful eyes, dreamed of a future without violence. Her brother Luca, the village blacksmith, was strong and fiercely protective. Together, they cherished the fragile peace, even knowing it might shatter at any moment. One evening, under a crimson sunset, a stranger appeared at the village's edge, a weary soldier bearing grim news. Enemy forces were advancing fast, intent on seizing the village as a strategic point for further attacks. Fear rippled through the villagers, but alongside it rose a fierce determination. The village council met under the old oak tree, voices hushed but urgent. Mira and Luca listened closely, realizing the quiet days were coming to an end. Overnight, the villagers transformed. Farmers became fighters, gripping makeshift weapons and learning the art of defense. Mira volunteered as a scout, using her quick feet and keen eyes to gather intelligence. Luca hammered tirelessly in his smithy, forging weapons as the clang of metal filled the night. Trenches were dug, barricades erected, and despite their inexperience, the villagers trained with fierce resolve, bound by love for their home. At dawn, the enemy arrived under a smoky, gray sky. Mira spotted their approach from the shadows, heart-pounding but unyielding. The battle erupted suddenly, a violent storm of noise, fear, and fire. Luca stood firm at the village gate, swinging his hammer with desperate strength. The villagers fought with every ounce of courage, each small victory a roar of defiance against the overwhelming force. But the enemy's numbers were too great. The village was pushed back, buildings caught aflame, and hope began to falter. During a reconnaissance mission, Mira was wounded and hid among the ruins, blood trickling down her arm as the sounds of battle echoed nearby. There, she met an unexpected ally, a soldier from the enemy side, tired of the senseless war. They shared stories and fears, realizing the enemy was not a faceless monster, but a person trapped in the same nightmare. With her new ally's help, Mira discovered a hidden path through the forest, and relayed vital information to Luca and the remaining defenders. The enemy's supply lines were vulnerable. Under the cover of night, the villagers launched a daring surprise attack on the enemy camp, severing reinforcements. The tide began to turn. The enemy, furious and desperate, regrouped for a final assault. The ensuing battle was brutal and unrelenting. Mira, Luca, and the villagers fought side by side, tested to their limits. As the sun rose, the enemy's morale broke, and they began to retreat. The village stood victorious but battered, their home scarred yet unbroken. The aftermath was harsh. Ruins and ashes marked where homes once stood, but the villagers' spirit burned brighter than ever. Aid arrived from distant allies, inspired by their courage. Mira and Luca became symbols of hope, vowing to rebuild and remember, not just their village, but the lives lost and the lessons learned. Though the war raged on, their corner of the world was a beacon of resistance. Seasons passed and the village slowly healed. New homes rose, children played again, and the battle's story turned into legend. Mira and Luca walked the fields, heavy with memories but filled with hope. Though shadows of conflict still loomed, the village remained a testament to human resilience, a forgotten place that refused to disappear. Years later, travelers arrived, drawn by tales of bravery and sacrifice. They found not ruins, but a thriving community bound by resilience. The battle for the forgotten village became a symbol, proof that even in the darkest times, courage can light the way and change history. In the shadows of conflict, where many stories fade into silence, the battle for that forgotten village whispered a timeless truth. Even the smallest voices, when united, can roar louder than any war.